Invested Agents presents Real Estate Action Live.
Yes.
We're going to do something different. Multiple guests answering a single question.
This will be a fun, fast-paced hour with amazing guests.
And that is how you're going to win all day, is to empower your people.
Too many agents trying to figure out, well, how do I get my buyer's offers accepted? It's easy. Offer the highest price. It's not rocket science.
When you're a realtor or you're doing something in real estate, you have to flip the view of what you're looking at, and you start looking at what other people are doing.
So it's really just personality based, and then having people learn the ropes in an effective way.
Focus on just being there for people and providing value.
I don't regret what I did because it really made me hustle and work hard.
Better than we've ever been. We just had our first six-figure month. That 70K just jumped to six figures.
I'm all about like building up your knowledge base, building up your mind, building up your spirit, and just slay the day.
We're always looking for people to come along and help us with our journey as well. We can also contribute and help them develop their skills.
Thanks for having me. This is super cool.
Yeah, great. No, it's been awesome.
It's an honor to be here. I appreciate you guys.
Awesome. Thanks for having me. Hi, Haley. Thank you. Good stuff.
Chris, I'm so honored to spend time with you live, teaching thousands of real estate agents how to build their brand and not be a commodity.
We're live.
Yay. Welcome.
Ready for another show, Real Estate Hacking Live.
Yes. Today we are going to be talking to 6 real estate investors, asking them how they got their first deal. So take notes. You might learn something that will help you get your first deal. You can read from books and listen to podcasts all day, but the most important part of this industry is definitely to take action. So we're going to hear from a great bunch of panelists who are going to give us their experiences and tell all about it.
Yeah, looking forward to it. I always love to hear people's beginning stories and sharing our beginning story. But before we get started, if you are not a part of our Invested Agents community, this is a community of real estate investors, including the folks you're seeing here and many, many others. We share events like this, tools, resources. We did a case study last week, posted how we turned a $10,000 deal into a $100,000 gross deal using a variation of the BRRRR strategy. We call it the slow flip strategy, and got a lot of really, really good feedback. So go to investedagents.com/community. It's absolutely free. It's a Facebook community. Look forward to seeing y'all in there and collaborating. Before we bring up the guests, if you're watching, drop a comment, a thumbs up, a wave, shout out. Let us know you're here. If you got some cool questions, if we have time, we'll try to get to them. But definitely let us know you're here. Click the like and share. And Jamie, let's bring up our first guest.
All right. So first we have Brodrick Norman. Hi, Brodrick.
Hello, Jamie. How's it going?
Good. Thanks so much for joining us. Let me just share a little bit about Brodrick. He is the founder of GTA Group. He is a West Point grad and has his MBA in financial finance, I'm guessing, from the University of Texas. Oh, we have a TU guest, Chris?
Yeah, I almost put that too.
We will love all.
That was hard to type.
The Aggies here. His real estate career includes wholesaling and flipping, but he is now known as the land guy. So let's hear it for Brodrick.
Hey, Broderick. Yeah, you didn't learn anything at that college in Austin. It's West Point. That's really what raises the eyebrow. That's the badge that you really wear, right?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely have a lot of affinity for my undergraduate in West Point, the military way, and a lot of my opportunities have come from that, to be sure. I talked to a lot of my classmates and a lot of buddies that are in real estate as well. And it helps, and I think the financial background I got from Texas helps out a lot as well, as far as being prepared for the opportunities that come. I almost feel like there's, either from education or experience or networks, there's nothing that comes down the pipe that we can't handle.
Yeah. It's all tongue in cheek. They're moving over to the SEC, so we'll get that rivalry back up again. All right, these 10 minutes, they go up quick. How did you get your first real estate deal? And you've been doing this for a while now. I know you're doing something probably very different than when you got started, or maybe not. Right. But how did you get your first real estate deal, and what did that look like?
And it's still right now. It's very much real estate, right? It's just different. It's land. It's basically the fundamental component of every real estate deal is dirt. And when I started, my first deal was actually from a friend. They had a condo for sale. I jumped in. I did a short sale. I did that. I did the creative title stuff, and I helped basically purchase that deal, dealt with the lender, then turned around and sold it on the market.
What year was that? Do you recall?
That was 2012. So I think I
2012,
started.
okay. So short sales, they're still going on, and this was a friend that had this deal, and you were like,
Yes.
"Hey, I think I could help out here." What made you even interested in doing that deal?
Well, the kind of the interesting thing is, and one of the things I learned is, dealing with friends can be challenging, but when someone says they have a problem, we get paid to solve problems, right? So the one thing I learned is when someone says they have a problem, jump in and then just figure it out. I mean, a lot of things on the wholesaling side is dealing with title issues, is dealing with lenders. That's changed a lot in this environment, but the problems are still the same, right? It's creative title issues. It's figuring out how to sell maybe on the land side a large parcel in different sizes that someone else can't envision. So that aspect of the business, I think, is pretty consistent.
So a short sale is your first deal. Like short sales, like if you don't know what they are, it's basically you're trying to get the bank to accept less than what is actually owed. And you're probably doing that because either it's not really worth that anymore, which was the case in a lot of 2012, that time period, or it's just trashed out, needs a ton of work. Therefore, it's still less than what's owed. What was the specific case here, and then what did you end up doing with it once you got that deal through?
So that was a condo. I bought it for $24,000.
Wow!
Right. So I dealt with the bank. Yeah, back in the days we could buy condos for $24,000.
Yeah.
I bought it for $24,000. I turned around and sold that for $39,000. So it was roughly, a $15,000 return on my first deal. And what that really did,
close, or did you actually hard close on it?
Actually, I hard closed it and then turned around and sold it. So slightly less once you figure in closing costs.
Okay.
But really what that did was it sparked my attention. It was like, hey, this is something that's possible, and I got to figure out how to do it on a larger scale or do it more consistently.
Yeah, you created 2 or 3 months worth of income.
Exactly.
Within, a single closing event.
Yeah. So
it took some work getting there, but
after that, what I did was I went out and sought education. Right. So the punchline is to really grow my business was I sought education. I started networking. I started talking to people, and a lot of those relationships are the people I still call on today. I mean, at that point, a lot of us were younger in the business. We've seen a lot of people come and go. But again, I think those relationships would have helped me kind of succeed to this day.
Go back to the mindset or the thoughts that you had going into that deal. Because a lot of people are afraid to do the first deal because ultimately you don't know what you don't know. And that's understandable. But what gave you the confidence going in like, look, I'm going to figure this thing out and we're going to get the problem solved?
Yeah, that's a good question, Chris. I think one of the things is, when you go to a real estate room, right, you meet people, because that preceded my first deal. I had 2 thoughts. One is I thought maybe arrogantly that the people in the room weren't smarter than me, right? I was like, hey, I don't think everybody collectively in this room is smart. I don't think they're smarter than I am. And I said, 2, they're not going to outwork me, right? So that was the fundamental. That's those 2 things. They're not smarter and they're not going to outwork me. And if you think about it from a longevity thing in this business, there's a lot of high and low points. And that was my initial thoughts. Then it was just a matter of getting the resources, finding an agent that could help me with comps, right? Finding out how to talk to a bank, finding out how to negotiate, the debt side of it and figuring out what the equity side of it, and then reaching out to a realtor and saying, how do you help me move this product? But the fundamental things, I mean, it's at the most basic level, it is having a high intensity and a high work rate.
Yeah, I agree. So in that moment, there's chaos because you don't know what you don't know, and you're having, as you mentioned, figure it out, bring the resources, and ultimately you realize, hey, this is a problem. It can be solved. I like how Jocko Willink in a podcast a long time ago, so former Navy SEAL, leadership coach, and educator now, but he talked about training SEALs, which in combat, and I'm sure you can relate to this, at least in high stress environments, you have to, as a leader, extract yourself out of the trenches, because in the trenches, like, it's a mess. Right. But if you can extract yourself out and get that full like campaign, full picture view of the situation, then you can actually make forward progress, make decisions that help you get from point A to B to C to D. Because ultimately, like, when someone comes to you with a problem and they discuss, they tell you all the details, it's a lot easier to solve. But when you're in that same problem, it's different until you can pull yourself out. So it seems like that's what you did. You were like, hey, look, one, you're an educated man. You can figure it out. And then two, what I don't know, I'm going to get the resources because this is a problem. It can be solved. I feel like I'm wrapping up vanilla ice here.
And I think, too, one of the things is it's good to have someone with a peripheral view of what's going on, because in that situation and moment, it's easy for someone to make short-term decisions that don't get you to where you want to be. Yeah. It's almost like you're navigating, right? You're going out, you're walking through the woods. You're like, hey, I think it's that way. Or I think I see mountains and a draw to my right and left, and I'm a turn. Right. But when you have someone who's outside that situation and they can objectively look at it, they can provide you with solutions that get to the long-term path. And that's if you're distressed selling a condo. That's if I'm looking at a land deal. That's if I'm trying to do a rehab. That's the thing. It's getting that external view of what's going on. And I mean, I was doing it last night. I was doing it this morning. It's constantly figuring out where you are in a situation and what gets you to the long-term goal.
And this goes in a totally different way, but just sparked my head in my head, and then we'll close out. Most of the people that you're buying these properties from refuse to make decisions. So they were in your situation where they were heading towards a problem, which you chose the problem because you want to buy the property, but they refused to make decisions. And then, or they delayed so long to where the decision now, like the options are less. Like if you know you can't pay your bills and you don't see an outcome that solving sooner in today's market, you could sell it and probably make a nice profit. But if you wait to that last minute, like there's a lot fewer people that
but Chris, it's not always that, right? So we have a saying in our company, and it's not original by any stretch. In the land of the blind, the one-eyed man is king, or person, right? So I buy properties on the market today, like on MLS. People are like, you can't do that. We do it, right? So it's having a vision of where you want to go, and then having the wherewithal and the fortitude and the tenacity to get there. And so it's not always the stress. I mean, there's guys that buy stuff that do development and a lot of other things. So I think from the house mentality, it's like we always got to beat somebody up or whatever. That's not it. It's just having a vision of where, like you have a vision of where you want to take your company and knowing that path. And it's not always distressed. It's not always wholesale. It's not always rehabbing. It's just having a vision and getting there and being consistent. And I think that is what the thing that transcends styles or transcends markets.
All right. Last 30 seconds here. You're doing your business has evolved. Share what you're doing now and how folks can reach out to you.
Sure. We do land development. So primarily rural land development. So we buy, our mission is to make sure that everybody that wants land and has a job can afford it. So we do typically 5 to 10 acre tracts. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram. Our company's called Land Key, and we sell cash via agents and we sell our finance as well. So that's what we do, and we're pretty passionate about our mission.
Love it. Love it. Look forward to networking and connecting with you again, one of these events.
Sure thing.
Take care.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Get that off. Cut that. Hey, Ken. Let's cut that.
Thanks, Giga. All right. So next we have my sweet friend, Khush Italia. Bring her on up, Chris.
All right.
Okay.
Khush.
Hey guys.
I am so blessed. We're so blessed to know Khush. We met her in a mastermind that we are a part of. So a little bit about her. Khush is the co-founder of Lightning Capital House, buyers with her brother. Together, they wholesale houses in statewide Florida and expect to hit 7 figures this year. So that is awesome. And you are right now in California, right?
Yes, I'm in LA.
Okay. But you invest in Florida.
Correct.
And, I mean, that's a whole other cool topic that we have to have one day, like how to invest out of state when you're in California. She always confuses
We've
me.
had that one.
Are you in California or are you in Florida? Where
I'm based in Tampa, but you know, obviously doing what we do, and I think COVID kind of pushed us more into the virtual side. We used to do a lot of in-home appointments, and we just kind of transitioned over to doing virtually, which really helped us out with, you know, part of our passion for my brother and I, which is to travel. So yeah,
that's awesome. Yeah, we got to do a out of state investing
all right
topic too. Okay, so let you have it.
Good connecting with you again, Khush. So way back, your first deal, what did that look like? What kind of deal was it? How'd you find it? Let's start there.
All right. So actually, interesting enough, my brother and I remember back in 2016, I would meet him for dinner once a week, and we'd kind of talk about real estate. He's like, "Hey, I'm looking to getting into real estate," and he was interested in possibly doing the flipping side. And we kind of talked about it, and I said, well, how, you know, and he kind of wanted to do the house hacking thing, which was to buy a property, live in it, and then fix it up. And I said, okay, are you doing this for a hobby, or are you doing this to make money? You know, and he's like, well, I really want to, he's an engineer. So he's like, I kind of really want to figure out how to like fix stuff, you know? And so we kind of started that conversation there. And I think he went to a couple conferences and decided mailing.
Direct mail.
The time, I wasn't working with him. He had kind of started mailing. And I remember the first, you know, the event that I think all of us had gone to was Flip Hacking Live, and with Seven Figure. And so at that time, one of our mentors, Andy McFarlane, had told him, you know, he had gone up to him and said, look, I'm mailing in California. And Andy was like, you need to not be in California. It's so competitive. It's so expensive to find a deal. And so Khush looked into different markets and ended up finding a suburb of Tampa, which is where we started. And it was just purely out of mail, finding distressed leads, going through that, sending out mailers, and someone called. And I remember when that deal came, he came to me and was like, I think I found something, you know, and then like literally like a couple weeks after that, the second deal came in, and he's like, oh my God, I think we're onto something. He's like, you want to help with this thing? And I was like, yeah, sure. We both had full-time jobs at the time. So I remember we would wake up like super early in the morning because we were in LA and this was in Florida. So we'd wake up at like 5 in the morning, which was like 8 a.m. Florida time. And before work, we'd get like a bunch of calls. Like we'd get leads, and then we'd call people back. And yeah, I mean, we got our first 2 deals, you know, within, I would say, like 3 months of just mailing and people calling. And yeah, the rest is history.
And that's fast. So what type, so you're sending direct mail, which is, hey, I'd like to buy your house. I mean, there's a little bit more to it than that, but basically we'd like to buy your house. Give us a call. What type of list? Where did you get this list?
I think back in the day, everyone just used ListSource, and I think you could still use ListSource, you know,
like an absentee.
Absentee, distressed, you know, vacant properties. Usually, I would say usually absentee owners, it was a hot one. I mean, usually we were targeting people that were landlords that had multiple properties, people that had owned properties for at least 10 years, people that also had properties but lived out of state, right? So finding a lot of those properties where, you know, you got an extra property laying around, either, you know, it's just sitting vacant and people need extra cash, or it's possibly distressed because they've owned it long enough. Right?
Yeah. Some lot of deferred maintenance or a tenant in there.
Right. Exactly. Or yeah, you've got a tenant in there and you just really don't want to be a landlord anymore. You know, or a lot of these people sometimes have had bad experiences with tenants, you know, trashing the place and all that. And so, yeah, those are usually.
So did you end up like buying these and flipping them, or did you wholesale them?
Well, interestingly enough, because we weren't based over there. We actually, Khush had found a realtor who was also on Bigger Pockets. And so through him is how they got pictures and all that. And I think the first I would say the first year pretty much in 2017, we would buy them and then we would just list them. We didn't even wholesale at the time. We would just buy it and list it. I mean,
which a lot of people call that wholetailing. You're basically putting a discounted property on the retail market, being MLS.
Correct.
Which a lot of times you can squeeze a little extra juice, get a little bit extra for it.
Right. So the first year, 2017, we had 4 deals. All of them were under 100K. The first property that, like
you bought them and you made under 100K, or you bought them for under 100K and
we bought them under 100K. And there were out of 4 properties, we grossed about $140 something thousand. So each deal was approximately $30,000 to $40,000. Yeah.
Not bad.
Not bad at all.
You started the business and within 3 something months, you've got a big chunk of change in the pipeline. And I'd imagine that would, by percentage, make up a decent chunk of what represented your W-2 income.
Exactly. And I think that's where it was like, even out of the first 2 out of the gate, I mean, the first one we profited 32K, the second one profited 35K. And it was like, man, even if we get a couple of these in a year, I mean, we're going to be able to replace our salaries, no question.
And have more fun, right?
Yeah, of course. I mean, that's the part of it, right? Is finding these deals and being able to help people at the end of the day as well. It is actually really enjoyable and fulfilling.
So, what are you doing now? Are you still, so I know you're wholesaling statewide. So you mentioned that. Are you doing the same type, like direct mail, or are you marketing a little differently? Are you still putting stuff on MLS? Or are you doing more direct investor?
Yeah. So, I mean, a lot of people say mail doesn't work. I mean, mail still works. We get a huge chunk of our deals from mail. We've also done, PPC, so online. We're also doing texting, reaching out to people through text, through launch control. Even Zillow, you can find deals for sale by owners. I mean, it's all there. If people say, oh, it's such a competitive market right now, and it is, and Tampa's getting really, really competitive. But at the end of the day, there's still properties out there. You just need to know how to find it. And I think the key is just making offers. I think people don't make offers enough, and they don't make them as quickly as they should, especially in this time right now.
Yeah, because if you get a phone call, like, one, you gotta answer it. Because if you don't answer it, they're calling the next person, and then calling the next person, and then that person answers it, and like, boom, like they get the shot.
Totally.
But you answer it. Now you gotta know what you're doing, how to make that offer, how to analyze the deal. I guess in the final 30 seconds, any advice for folks either wanting to get started wholesaling or do it virtually? Any thoughts there? And then how can folks get in contact with you?
I mean, I would say you don't need to create, and don't overcomplicate it. At the end of the day, wholesaling is just simply the term of buying and selling, with a contract in place, like assigning a contract. So I would just say, find a deal that makes sense. Know the comps, know the area. If you need to, get help from a realtor or someone else that's, that you trust, that can run the comps for you. But I would just say you can do it for free. You can do it for free. You can do it in your spare time. Just don't be scared to make offers. I think that's key, and
like what's the kind of the golden rule in real estate? If you're not embarrassed by your offer, you're probably offering too much.
Too much, right?
Worst
exactly.
thing they could say is no, and you just move on to the next one.
You actually want to get a no. You actually want to get a no, because that means that's you've hit a bottom. So
and that's where the conversation starts.
Right.
Love it. Well, thank you so much. I really, really miss y'all. And I know Jamie does too. Look forward to connecting with you.
Yeah, I love your story.
Absolutely. Thanks, guys. Thank you. Yeah, you can always find us on Lightning Capital, housebuyers.com. All right.
Talk to you soon.
Thanks so much.
Thanks.
And before we move to the next guest, drop your comments. If you're watching this live, let us know what you think about the guest, the comments, taking away any nuggets you're taking away, or just a thumbs up, say hi. So I know we had Harriet and Manuel watching, so thanks for watching.
Awesome. Okay, well, our next guest is Daniel Tidwell. You want to bring Daniel up? Hey, Daniel. Thanks for joining us. So Daniel is the founder of Tidwell Properties. He has flipped 5 houses over the last 18 months in the Fort Walton Beach, Florida area.
Beautiful area.
Yeah, so he's your newer investor. Last 8, right? So you just started 18 months ago? Is that correct? Oh,
hey,
I think you're on mute.
I'm mute.
Mm-hmm. There you go.
There we are.
So you said you just started 18 months ago?
May 2020, yep.
Awesome. Oh, during COVID.
Yeah.
Great time to start, huh? Okay. Well,
sure.
I am so interested in hearing your story.
Hey, Daniel. So, yeah, we had your wife on a couple of times. Your turn now. Hear the other side of the story. And I know you've had a pretty good run up till now. Your very first one's probably pretty fresh on the mind.
Right.
What did that deal look like? How'd you find it? Let's go there.
Yeah, that was fun. So we did a lot of research. I did a lot of research before we jumped into real estate. Thankfully, we kind of had made the decision 6 or 8 months before I quit my W-2, and so I had all the knowledge, but needed to start taking action. So we ended up moving from Georgia to Florida. Started brand new real estate businesses. You've heard that from Mallory. And I just started hitting the pavement trying to find deals, off-market deals, basically. So I knew to cold call, drive for dollars, make offers on the MLS. Well, ended up just talking to a new neighbor, telling him what we do, kind of just networking, but being friendly, being a neighbor. And he said, hey, there's a house down the street. I've always had my eye on it. It looks horrible. You can barely see the thing. He gave me the address. So I looked up the seller, tried cold calling, could never get a good number, could never reach her, and drove by and just knocked on the door 2 or 3 times and never got anybody. There was always a car in the carport. Ended up talking to a neighbor to try to find, what's the schedule? Who is this? What's the deal, with the house? And they kind of gave me her schedule. So not really lucky, but kind of went in that time zone when she should be home. And sure enough, she was walking to the mailbox, and I just got out of the truck and walked up, introduced myself.
Stalking her.
Yeah, and just said, hey. And it was, we were really blessed because it was, you're super nervous. It's your first deal. You've never talked to a homeowner. Everybody hates people just walking up to them and talking to them. I'm home. I don't, leave me alone. And I kind of said, hey, I'm a real estate investor. Would you be interested in an offer on your house? And she said, yeah, I would. I was like, oh, okay. I didn't think it was that easy. And so we negotiated. She said she needed to move in 2 months. So we had plenty of time. But we had a lot to work through, and the house was bad. It was a hoarder house, animal house, cats, the whole, everybody's seen the very disgusting houses. This
smelled like a lot of opportunity.
Yeah. I walked in, and you're a little surprised. It's your first deal, and you walk in and you go, you live here. Oh, trying to be nice.
And you have to have the poker face.
Right. I'm like, oh, this is good. Don't look at the ground, look at the walls. It looks great.
Just watch your step.
I ended up asking her what she wanted. She wanted payoff, and I didn't know numbers that well. I'd never done a deal, and so I kind of ran the numbers with a very conservative ARV and gave her an offer, and she accepted it. She was like, "That's fine. That'll work for me." And so I went through. I didn't know if I was going to flip it or wholesale it. Everybody suggests wholesaling your first few deals, and I got an inspector out there. Kind of told me what was going on, and I said, "Well, let me just throw it out there to a couple investors in the area and see what someone will give me." And someone ended up offering me $43,000 over what I had it under contract for. And I said, "Well, I'll take that. We'll wholesale it.
So what now? Did you do the traditional wholesale, the assignment of contract?
Yep.
Yeah,
so I did that.
That's a huge win.
Right.
I think I'm getting a little feedback on your computer. Just maybe turn your sound down a little bit. But yeah, that's a massive win. I would say like, hey, if you can squeak out like even 7 to 10 grand in your first deal, bravo, especially if it's a flip. You walk away 43 grand. You must be like we're getting steak tonight.
Right. We were blown away. I went and told Mally, I was like, someone just offered me, and they even offered over what I was asking. They offered like 7,000 or 8,000 over what I was asking. And I said, I think I'm going to take it. We're going to go for this. And I ended up doing
psychology at that point in your mindset. So you're nervous going into the deal. Right. Now you've got a $40,000+ paycheck in the, pending. Like now what's going through your head?
Basically get it to the closing table,
So after that, you get paid. It's in your bank account. Like, what's going on now? You're going into work Monday.
It was good. It took about 4 months to get that deal. So in all reality, it kind of felt like a reasonable amount, because I've been working
10 grand a month.
4 or 6 months to get it there. So, but no, I was super pumped and realizing what you used to make W-2, and you're going, look, I just made all that in 1 year that I was making 5 years ago, or I made it in one deal that I was making a full year 3 or 4 years ago. That was it blew my mind. So this is definitely something that we want to continue doing.
So, and you've done, is it about 4 more or 5 more?
Yeah, 4. Yeah, 5, including that one.
Okay. Have the other ones been wholesales or flips or a mix?
I haven't done any more wholesales.
So everything else, you've been getting your hands dirty.
Yeah. Well, flipping is what we ultimately wanted to do. Wholesaling doesn't appeal to me for like just the whole process is not kind of where I like to work in. I don't know. I'm more on the see the houses transform side.
Yeah. Is it the process like you like taking I say ugly houses and making them beautiful again? That process, it has an experience, or is it you don't like the process of just swapping paper and kind of like stepping out of it?
Yeah, it's more I just prefer to be more hands-on. The wholesale.
We prefer flipping too. We've wholesaled. I don't know how many, maybe a dozen out of 200 properties, probably a little bit more than that. But I was just kind of curious. All right, so where are you going now? We got like 30 seconds. Where are you going now? And how can folks reach out to you?
So we're expanding a little bit. I've been doing a lot myself, honestly, because I enjoyed the work and the process. But we are going to expand, and we're actually closing Thursday on another property and have a contractor do 100% of it. So I'm not going to be involved at all. So kind of scaling. We're starting to get private money coming in. I've got 3 or 4 contractors that are ready to go right now. So we're scaling. We're getting ready to kind of blow it up, and that's the goal.
And you got a great team with you in the investment arm, your wife doing the retail side, being able to tag that along. Like, going back, I wish we would have scaled that part of our business. We ended up outsourcing it, and that made sense at the time. But love it. Can't wait to catch up with you and see how that next deal goes and how the scaling goes. So thank you very much, Daniel.
Yeah, thank y'all.
Thank you so much. All right, good stuff. Okay, next let's bring up Danya Douglas. Hi. Thanks for joining us.
Hey.
So Danya is one of my sweet friends that I met in a mastermind as well, and she's just killing it out there. So I wanted to have her on as well. Just a little bit about Danya. Danya is the founder of Team Douglas REI. It's a full-service real estate company. She has been a licensed realtor for 17 years and a full-time real estate investor for 5 years. And you mainly you're in California. You mainly invest in California, or have you invested
Yes, that's well, we do have some properties in like Memphis and Texas, but we live, I live here, so I was always like, okay, if I can make it in LA, if I can make it in California, I can make it anywhere, you know what I mean? And so I kind of like had that mindset, but and really thinking about it, in actuality, I should have went somewhere where it was cheaper. It probably would have been a lot easier, because I always consider myself as being, you guys know the story of David and Goliath. I always see myself as David because we got all these big guys here just killing it, monopolizing everything. And so I try to use my David approach to my advantage and talk to the sellers that way, saying, don't you want to work with a local company? I'm from here. I'm your neighbor, so you got to use what you got to use what you got, even if it's an obstacle. So,
well, awesome. Well, thanks for joining us. And I'll let you and Chris take it away.
Hey, Danya. So your first
Chris.
deal, like you are an absolute veteran, 17 years licensed, tons of transactions in your belt.
Yeah.
And then at least about 5 of them more, I don't know about more focused, but definitely 5 extra compounded years on the investment side. So your first investment deal, what did that look like and how'd you find it?
This is so funny. Okay. So my first deal was, I found it by just kind of talking to people. Before, when I started, I was just totally sold out on buying and holding. I didn't really know anything about flipping or wholesaling or any of that. I was just like, okay, this is how the majority of America has gotten wealthy. I'm just going to buy and hold. And then, so I was talking to my husband about that. And then after just like keep reading and going through things, I learned about flipping and I was like, gosh, I want to try that. And so really what happened was I started talking to people. My dad's also a contractor. So I started talking to him. I started telling all my family members. I was telling my husband to ask people at work, see if they had a property. They knew about somebody that wanted a cash offer for a property, and so basically word got around. And my dad came to me and said, hey, I have a friend and he has a family member that wants to get rid of a property. And it's so funny because I heard Khush saying like theirs was a hoarder house. And this was a hoarder house. One of the daughters had lived in the house till she like filled it up. And then once she filled it up, she moved and the house had been vacant for like 5 or 6 years.
Oh my goodness.
Till I came along. I literally, Chris, when we walked in the house, we could not get past the front door. We had to pull out stuff and make a pathway so that we could walk through the house. And so I was able to get that under contract. It was so funny. The people were so nice. I called them. I remember talking to them on the phone. And what happened was I was so scared, right? So I came to my dad. I said, hey, Dad, you want to partner with me on this? I think the numbers work and it's going to be great. And he was like, oh, no way. I'm not putting any money in this. I'm not going to do that. So I was like, okay, I got to get this deal done. So I Googled like hard money lenders and I just started calling all of them. And so this is a really good something I remember to this day. So I started calling them and then like the first 1 or 2 were like, well, how much experience do you have? You're going to pay high interest rate and all this kind of stuff. And I was like, okay, that's fine. And I kind of used that I had a full-time job and I was like, well, I've been an operations manager. I know how to run things. And so then maybe like I wasn't really getting any traction, right? So then all of a sudden, I guess they went and they looked at the address of the property I had under contract. And then all of a sudden I started getting calls back.
They looked at the deal and they were like, wait a minute.
Oh, yeah. And then they were like, Danya, this is a good deal. We want this deal. And I was like, okay, wait a minute now. 3 of them have called me back. I must really have a great deal. And so that's one thing, because I've learned too over the years is that You know, even hard money lenders, a lot of them have different standards, or they'll bend their standards if the deal works. And, you know, you always hear seasoned investors, they say, oh, we'll get the deal and the money will come. And in my case, that really was true. I got the deal and the price was right. And then they came back to me and wanted to invest in the deal. So I used hard money lender, the first deal I got. And so what else do you want to know about it?
Yeah, no,
I mean,
that's good, because there's two things that keep people from doing their first deal. I've pulled it multiple occasions, threads, forums, talk with people. Money is always number one. And that's actually the easiest thing to solve, because there are hard money companies everywhere that will do a deal, even for brand new investors. And depending on how cheap you get the deal and the location, because they all have different standards, you may have very little, and in some cases, maybe even no money out of pocket. It just all depends on the deal and the lender and all that. And of course, the market. And then the number two is the education. So what you did is you saw both of them with hustle and grit. And it seems like that's probably, if I can infer, that's how you built all your entire business career.
Pretty much.
Getting the deal, being told by family, like, hey, no, you're on your own, figuring it out, Googling, and just calling lender after lender, getting told no. And then now you got a deal, you got a yes, you're doing this deal. So do you close on it and flip it, or do you wholesale it?
I closed on it and flipped it, and I made $159,000. I split it two ways because I ended up getting a partner, and I got so spoiled after that, Chris. I was like, oh my God, this is it. Even my husband, right? We went to RIA after that because I was kind of scared. Like I said,
was this
my
like
first deal,
2014 or so, or?
Yeah, it was like 2015, and I was really scared, and I thought, like, okay, wait a minute. So I joined like house flipping formula because I was like, okay, if something bad happens or I run into an obstacle, at least I can go in this group and I can ask questions, and I'm sure I can find somebody to help me, right? And so and so that's kind of what happened. I think like you just can't give up. You got to just keep pursuing. If the numbers work, I didn't know about the calculator and all that stuff. I just wrote everything out on a piece of paper. Like, okay, this is how much I think the rehab's going to cost. I had contractors go, this is how much my holding costs are. You know, I didn't even call it holding costs then. I was like, okay, my monthly on the hard money, you know, so it was like, I just did, it was just so basic. And in the end, I was going to have a profit. So I knew it was going to work. And I feel like, especially when you're new, you're afraid to make a mistake, because this even happened last year with COVID. And if you buy it at the right price, even if it's a mistake, you can sell it and you'll make something. You may not make what you would have made, you know, flipping it or wholesaling it, but you can find a realtor that will sell it for you, and you still make some money most of the time.
That's where margin, multiple exit strategies. So you balanced grit versus, I mean, you're inexperienced in that area, but you ask the right question. So take action. Now, don't be haphazard in that. You were out there seeking advice, seeking resources, whether it was a lender or other investment groups. So you were asking the right questions. You were asking many questions, and ultimately, but you still got to take action, because a lot of people ask questions for 5 years and then then 20 years go by and like, yeah, I always wanted to get into real estate investing. That's not you. I love it. So 140 grand, last maybe 30 seconds or so. What are you doing now? And how can folks reach out to you?
What I do now is I'm pretty much a full-time flipper. That's pretty much what I do. I have branched into doing some short-term rentals, and I'm kind of I've been doing a lot of buying and holding lately just because of COVID and everything. And So that's what I'm doing. If people want to reach out to me, they can go to my Instagram. It's Danya M. Douglas, or they can call me. My cell is 951-425-4435. They can text me. I love texting. So yeah, I mean, I'm easy to reach.
All right. Thank you so much. That's an absolute killer deal. Look forward to catching up with you again soon.
Thank you guys for having me.
Thank you so
Take
much. I love your story. It's awesome. All right. Next, we have Pete Christensen. Okay, let's bring him on.
Pete.
Hi, Pete.
Hey guys.
Pete, that
Thanks
hat.
for joining us.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That hat. Love it.
Been to Grant Cardone something, I'm guessing.
Yep, and inspires me to work hard. Set big goals.
Good, yeah.
Yeah, you can't walk. You can't be a slouch with that hat on.
All
That's
right, well,
right.
a little bit about Pete. Pete is the founder of New Hope Home Buyers. After being laid off his corporate job, his pastor suggested wholesaling houses. Look at that, divine intervention. I love it. So within 30 days, he had his first deal, and he hasn't looked back since. And where are you located?
So we're in the Austin market, Austin, Texas.
Austin, Texas. Awesome. Okay, so let's hear about his adventures.
Awesome. Thanks for having me on. It's great to be
Absolutely.
here.
Thanks for joining us. So your first deal, you weren't in Austin. You were somewhere else. Where were you? Your pastor. I want to hear a little bit about that story. What did that deal look like? Let's go.
Yeah. So we're in Louisville, Kentucky, and I was meeting with my friend Andy, pastor at the time, and I was like, Andy, my company just laid me off. You know, I got this. I got a couple job opportunities on the line. You know, we'd have to move. I don't think my wife would be very happy about that. And I got this real estate license because I want to get into real estate, but you know, it just seems like a slow ramp up. And he goes, have you ever heard of wholesaling? And I said, well, I've heard of the term, but I don't really know what it means. Like, what is it? And so here's me, a realtor who's gone through real estate school, who doesn't know what wholesaling is. So it's just, it was.
You're not alone. There's probably like 95% of agents out there don't know what it is, or if they think they do, they don't really. But
Exactly. So it was actually, he explained to me that you could get a property under contract, and then you have equitable interest in this property, and then you can sell your right to buy the property to someone else for a bigger price. And I said, that's legal? And he said, yes. And I go, that's incredible. So he's like, here's what you need to do. Go meet with this real estate attorney. He'll give you some contracts to buy and sell. And then, you know, go to the local RIA meeting. And I said, okay. So I went on to YouTube and started looking up, because I'm big on education, right? So I'm not afraid to hire a coach or mentor, because I want somebody to help me I want to compress my timeline. Yeah. I can figure it out on my own, but I'd rather have somebody who's already done it show me what they did, and I'd be happy to pay them for that. So I went and met with Harry. He was awesome. He gave me some purchase contracts and some encouragement, and then he said, go to the RIA meeting. So this is the second person telling me to go to the RIA meeting. So I go to the RIA, I'm meeting people, I'm passing out business cards, and my first deal came about through Brent Daniels, and I pulled a list from ListSource of absentee owners. And keep in mind, I met with Andy on April 23rd, 2019. I'm cold calling a week later, and I pulled my list, and I'm calling these absentee owners, 40% plus equity, own the property for, you know, so many years, and they're 44 years and older. So that was kind of the formula for that tired landlord list. Yeah. So I get this guy on the phone named Don, just a nice guy, great guy. So I'm talking with Don, and I said, hey, Don, I was calling to see if you might be open to an offer on your property there on Merrick Avenue. And he said, no, I got someone living in that. I don't want to sell that one. And part of the script that Brent teaches. And I said, hey, no problem, Don. I totally understand. Do you have any other properties you might consider selling? And he thought for a second, and he goes, you know, I have this one on Ben Franklin that I'd be interested in talking to you about. And I'm like, perfect. When would you like me to meet you there? Keep in mind, I know nothing. Like, I don't know anything except what Andy's told me, what Harry's told me, and, you know, a few contacts I met at the RIA. So I go, and I had this, you know, rehab checklist, my clipboard, show up, smile, shake his hand, meet his wife, and he takes me through the house. And this was a house that they had raised their family in. So it was a nice 4-bedroom, 2.5 or 2-bath home. And Don and his wife had moved out to a condo, to a patio home, because they're getting older. And I learned later that Don had some health challenges, and they were in the process of remodeling this house to flip it and put it on the market and sell it. And so it became clear after talking with me, and it became clear to Don that, you know, it might be easier to just take a cash offer on my house instead of go through the hassle of fixing it and waiting. And I'd rather just not focus on this. And so I wrote him an offer right there. And I got so we went back and forth for a day or two because his wife wanted a little bit more money. Mm-hmm. And so we ended up settling to keep her happy and keep the deal alive. So I got the property under contract for $165,000. And
what did you, at the time, what did you think it was worth, like fixed up? Did they ARV?
This was a little while ago, so I'm trying to recall. I think the ARV was 275 or 260,
okay. All right,
250 in that range.
Okay, so 165 you got on contract. I think it's worth 250, maybe a little more. As far as what kind of repairs did you think it needed?
Keep in mind, I wasn't really, yeah, probably 25-ish.
Okay,
maybe
all right.
30.
So
it was a
190-ish.
It wasn't like Danya's deal by no means, but
no, that's it. Okay, so go ahead.
It was an okay deal, and it was in a good neighborhood, and so it was in a nice part of town. So it would have been a great flip. So I called the guy who I'd met recently at the RIA. I knew he was a big time flipper. He had a company. He had some employees. So I called Eric. I said, Eric, I got a deal. Actually, I called a lot of people, but they weren't interested because in the market of Louisville at the time, they were not used to paying that sticker price for a flip. They're getting them for closer to 100 and turning around and selling them for 200. But nonetheless, I didn't let that discourage me. I called Eric, and he was over at a restaurant in town, and he said, I'm having lunch over here with my partner. I said, great, I'll meet you over there. I got the contract. I'll meet you over there. So I'm not letting any time get wasted because I wanted to sell this deal. I wanted to go.
You got to make it happen.
Yeah, I wanted to go from faith to fact that this is a real thing called wholesaling, that you can make money selling paper. And so I went and met him at this high top table and had him sign the assignment agreement. And I remember he kind of beat me up a little bit on price. I wanted to make 10 grand, and I was trying to sell for 170 something. And he's like, I'll give you 175, and I'll give you 170. And I was like, that's only like $5 grand, but nonetheless, I was like, cool. I know he'll close. And so I was like, okay, cool, we'll do it. And so at the restaurant, he's like, what did I say? He almost wrote 7,000. I was like, no, you said 5. And I was just like, but it was cool because I'm big on integrity, say what you do and do what you say. So he ended up closing, and I made $5 grand. And this was like, from the time I heard about it to the time I got paid was like 5 weeks or something. I bought and sold a deal in like 30 days, something like that. So it was great.
I love that. And it sounds like you had a very financially astute and investment-friendly pastor. I'm sure there's more like that. It's that's an interesting story. So ultimately, you didn't have a job. You had to get out there and do it. You got some advice. You followed up on it, took action, made it happen, walk away with $5 grand in your pocket. In the last 30 seconds here, what are you doing now? I know you're not in Louisville anymore. What are you doing now, and how can folks reach out to you?
So I'm in the Tampa St. Pete market. I'm in the Austin market, and I'm still in the Louisville market. You can reach out to me on my cell phone, 502-645-6276. Our website is AmericanRealEstateBuyers.com, and I'm flipping land. We currently have some massive land deals under contract, 219 acres we got under contract on Friday. We just sold 50 acres, and we're getting ready to get 500 acres under contract. So we would love to partner with anybody that might want to make some money and land here in Texas, the great state of Texas. So give me a holler.
Awesome. Yeah, you got to get connected with Brodrick too. He was the other land guy on early in the show. So
for sure.
All right. Hey, Pete, it was nice connecting with you again. Look forward to chatting again, following up, and thanks for coming on.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks so much, Pete. Nice to meet you. All right. Good stuff today. Next, we have our last guest, Tyler Austin. Hey, Tyler, how are you?
You hear me okay?
I can. Love the studio.
Perfect. Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Awesome. Well, a little bit about Tyler. Tyler is the founder of REI Sift, a service helping real estate investors scale their sales and marketing. He is an Air Force veteran and a 7-figure real estate investor. So thank you for your service and thank you for joining us today. And where are you located currently?
We're in Fort Walton Beach, Florida. So literally where Daniel, I just seen him last week, actually. He's amazing guy.
Awesome. Well, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for the invite.
What's going on, Tyler?
What's up, Chris?
So you're well immersed in real estate in multiple capacities, sales and marketing, active investor, education. But going back to your very first deal, like when was that? How did you find it? And what kind of deal was it?
Cool. So I'm gonna go to the first deal that I got under contract, not the first one I closed, because between the time that I got the first one under contract and closed it, we had already done quite a bit in revenue between there because of how intense the deal was. But so my first contract came from $10,000 of direct mail that I had sent out here in Fort Walton Beach at the time.
Or that was over a period of time?
No, just one time.
Oh, drop 10 grand. All right.
Just dropped 10 grand. In fact, I didn't do it in the right way when it comes to how I spent the money. At the time, I was a government employee still, traveling 50% of the year. And they have this card that they give you, for travel. And I traveled a lot. And I'm not going to say what I did with the card, but nevertheless, I didn't have the money for direct mail and I found the money. So I sent it out. And I didn't get anything from this direct mail for about 3 months or so. I'm traveling. At the time, I was in Beale Air Force Base in California, I think is what it was called. And when I sent out this direct mail campaign, I used call route tracking number, and the base from my hotel was about an hour drive every morning, plus work time was 12, 15 hours, and then get home. So it was like a good gap of time. And I'm like itching the whole time, at work, wondering, did I get any calls coming in? Whole time I was there for 3 weeks, not one phone call came in.
That had to be incredibly stressful.
Oh, it was, especially, since I was basically borrowing the money on the government's dime, right? And that's not legit, and I don't recommend it whatsoever. And I'm like, dude, I got to get a deal from this. I heard that, people sent direct mail, they get calls in, they get, a contract right away almost, from everything I Googled. And so I got back home, went to the post office, and they had just a bucket full of mail for me. And I was like so demoralized because I was like, that's like at least $3 grand. Yeah, all return mail. My post office box itself was full, which was like one of the medium-sized ones or whatever. And then they had an additional like yellow and white bin that they handed me. And I was like, what in the hell could I have done wrong, for this to happen? And I was like, I'm no longer ever sending direct mail. It just doesn't work. And that's not true, by the way. Anyway, let's fast forward. I had paused real estate for a little bit just to learn and implement and build systems in place, which I don't necessarily believe someone has to do, but it worked for me with what I was, my travel. Ended up getting a phone call in at like 7 o'clock at night. It had just turned dark out here in Florida. And this was it was 2017. Mm-hmm. And so just turned dark. I got this phone call, and it's like, I couldn't understand a lick of what this guy was saying. It was like the most Southern of Southern mixed with Southern, tall boys. Like I couldn't understand anything. And so I call him back, and he picks up, and it's broken. I'm getting like a word every now and then. And I basically said, can I come over now? And he's like, yeah. And I guess, okay, like I got confirmation I can come over, but I can't understand anything he's saying. I asked him the address, and I kind of had it. I'm pretty sure I had it. He said, come in through the back door. And I basically through Google Maps, I was okay, I have the right place. Drove over there, had to got my buddy to come with me because, you know, it's like dark out and going in the middle of nowhere. Yeah. So we believe in carrying here in Florida. So we did such. And so bring back up and go into the back door, and it's like cracked open. And I mean, from the street, you can just smell something coming from this void of what was a house.
In Lifetime movies that start this way. Like,
yeah, exactly. And I was like, this is weird, man. I don't know if I'm going. The first thing I thought of was like, okay, did this guy just call me? Because I've heard of some stories where people will call people before they do bad things, like either to themselves or whatever. And like this was playing out to me, that scenario, because I opened up I kind of like pushed the door open a little bit, and there's this old man sitting in this chair, toppled over like this. And I just see it in Florida, like I'm pretty sure everywhere, that typically if you don't have like AC or coolers or anything, you put a styrofoam cup, paper in it, another styrofoam cup, and then your tall boy in it to keep it nice and cool, like an insulator. And there was one of those sitting there. A tall boy is a large beer for anyone that don't know. And it's sitting there, and I'm like, the TV's blaring. I'm yelling at the top of my lungs, like trying to get a hold of this guy, and he's not answering. So I start walking in, and I'm like waving my hand, trying to figure out if like something's wrong. And all of a sudden he hops up like this, and just this big old smile goes on his face, and he like stumbles over a little bit and is like, hey. And I'm like, hi, are you so-and-so? And so anyway, that was the introduction to that. We walked the house, and it was to this day the worst house I've ever been in terms of like living conditions. I mean, there was needles everywhere. He used the whole house as his bathroom. He just put newspaper everywhere. And it was bad. It ended up taking about 1.5 years to flip the property. But I'll get into that. So anyway, here's why it took so long to begin with. Number one, he's an elderly man, and he doesn't have anywhere to go, right? He has no money. He built this house back in the 60s himself. He was a bricklayer, and he built it all with brick and everything else. There was a basement in it, which isn't normal in Florida. And so we walked around it, we got all the numbers and everything. And that night I had offered him, you know, I think it was like 55 or 60 grand for the property. He's like, I can't do that or whatever. I think he wanted like 80 for it or something like that. And so I was like, well, where do you plan on going? And he's like, I have no idea. I have my brother. I could go with him, whatever. I was like, well, you know, figure that out. I can't sign with you right now anyway because you're hammered. Like like I'm not gonna like number one, you're old and I can't take advantage of elderly. There's a lot of legal implications there. Number two, you're hammered. I can't like do anything with you. I literally, to get outside the house, I had to hold him to get him out to like have a conversation with him because it was just so smelly inside. We didn't want to like stay inside. The pantry of this place, when you opened up the door, there's, you know, cans of food. The bugs, like if you lifted up a can, came up a few inches and there was like a ring from the bug. It was just so bad. And so anyway, a few days later, got under contract, you know, had him meet me somewhere to verify he's sober, had a witness with me. We got a signature on a contract. And I was like, hey, cool. Now we got to figure out what the next steps are here because I want to make sure that you have somewhere to go that's a bit better, more stable, because you should not be living here, especially in your condition. And so I did the stupidest thing that I will never, ever do again. And I bought a house in Crestview, Florida, for him before we closed on the house that he could move into so I could buy the house. And I didn't do it in a way that wasn't, you know, avoiding any risk. It was a lot that had 2 houses on it that I bought for 40 grand. One house we sold to him for 35, I believe, and the other house I sold to somebody else for 40 grand. So I actually made money from that deal. But the problem is that, you know, it took another 4 months to close this other deal before I even recouped that difference. And 2 weeks before closing, he was like, I don't think I want to do this anymore. I'm like, I don't think I have a choice at this point. Like, you need to move forward. I got 35 grand still sitting in this house that I bought for you with no agreement in place or anything like that. Nevertheless, I made 15 grand from that actual house. 10 grand up front on a wholesale to a friend of mine locally that I was like, yo, this is like beyond me. You can take this. I think they might have regretted that a little bit. It turned out beautiful, great portfolio property as far as like, you know, images on how good they are at flipping, but not a great experience.
Yeah.
And I made 5 grand on the backside. Yeah. So that was my first deal. It came from a direct mail piece.
That's a hell of a story though, because now, and this is what I tell folks, like if you're getting started out, like, and if it's a hairy deal, now whether it's you're wholesaling, flipping, you're doing like commissions, like representing clients, like if you can get through that, it'll probably be a long time, if ever, before you top it. You'll have other weird situations and challenging deals, but it's gonna be a while before you actually top that. So sounds good. What are you doing now, and how can folks reach out to you?
Yeah, so now we do kind of a similar process, except for we spend money on direct mail last, except for our farm markets being agent as well. I'm an agent underneath you, actually, an EXP somewhere, I'm pretty sure, Chris. So basically what we do is we have a full service kind of operation. We start with the cheapest marketing first, reaching out to people and one-off prospecting in our niche farm locations locally. And then if we can't reach anybody, we send direct mail to those individuals, and any return mail we really focus really heavy on. So we have a sequential marketing thing. And my real estate company side, and then the most of my time's done at REISIF with all of our users in the education space and stuff like that, teaching people that process and how to implement it in our product. And other than that, I've just been trying to like relax and chill and spend more time. I have a baby that just came out 2 or 3 months ago. So I've been trying to, chill a little bit more and buy more properties, more rentals, invest in more things, diversify my portfolio. And that's pretty much it. So other than that, people can reach me. The best place is IG, Tyler Austin Original, or we have a Facebook community, REISIF Mastermind Community. Just put that you heard from us in real estate hacking. We'll accept you in there. Typically, it's only for users. And that's pretty much it, man. Just
love it.
Just hanging out.
Appreciate you coming on. Look forward to visiting with you again next time we come down to Florida.
100%, man. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Take care.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
All right. So when he was sharing that last deal, it reminded me, not quite as extreme, of the first deal that we did together that you went on. It just smelled so bad. You had to politely excuse yourself while I closed the deal.
I know. I was wondering if we were going to talk about how we got our first deal, because I didn't hear anybody saying that they knocked on the door.
What I'll do is I'll put that in the notes. It's a link to our first deal that we did together. The little teaser here. It did smell so horrendous that Jamie couldn't handle it. She went waiting in the car while I locked that one up. But that deal is what led us to go full time. That's why it's actually very powerful. We tell it a lot, especially on our how to build $1 million rental portfolor. So checking the notes, and
that's where I coined I was the getaway driver.
Yes,
because we would go knock on doors and I would be in the truck either watching you fast walking it to the truck, or maybe you go in and I just pray that you come out alive. It always made me nervous, just like our last guest said, you never know what you're going to get when you walk in. Are they going to be angry, or are they going to be what? So this was great conversations today. And we will be back next month,
November 2nd. November 2nd. Topic, don't have the topic yet, but be sure to, if you RSVP on investigations.com/RE-hacking, or on the investigations.com, you scroll down, it has the link right there. So RSVP, that you'll get updates on this event, other events that we have going on, plus training, tools, resources, case studies, join the community.
Right. Exactly. And even if you have like a topic in mind that you want to hear more about, we're glad to hear it. Just comment below, send us an email, and we can talk about that. So Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks
That's
for watching.
all we have.
We'll see y'all next month.